Hi, so I'm making this video to help you understand how to integrate your sources and how to make sure that you are documenting in both steps. So it's the MLA two-step. Because if you don't have both of these steps done, then you have plagiarism, and that is a big problem. It's kind of like a line that professionally I just can't cross, right? If you've got some grammar problems, that's one thing, but if you've plagiarized, that's just an issue that it's pretty black and white. So again, we want to make sure that you've got everything thoroughly documented. So I've got about five or six sources here that are kind of pretty common kind of sources that students use in their papers. And I'm going to walk through showing you the two different ways that you must document them in MLA style to make sure that you're thoroughly citing them in your paper. So the first one is a magazine article in print. And by magazine, this would cover newspaper articles, any kind of article from a periodical. So it's a journal article, magazine article, newspaper article. Now, obviously, there are variations in like publishing information and stuff like that. So again, when you look at your article and you look at the MLA guide, then obviously you may see some differences. But again, they're pretty fairly standard. So this is the actual article itself. I found this actually, it's a PC World, right? So we can see here is the title of the article right up here. Here is the author. I can see the date and then the name of the magazine, and then I can see right here on my website or on the document, I can see page numbers. So I do have page numbers to cite. This is a PDF, so this is the actual way it looked in the magazine. So I do see this as a print version of this. Now I do have a image. They've given me a citation for the person who is responsible for this image from Shutterstock. Unless I actually use this image in my paper, I don't have to give credit to that image. I'm not, unless I, use it in the paper itself. So I don't have to do that. So again, for this, here's my works cited entry: author's name, last name, comma, first period. The title of the article in quotation marks. Notice that I do have it properly capitalized. Then the name of the container, which is the magazine title, and that's going to be in italics, then a comma. Then the date. Here I just have a month and a year because PC World must just come out once a month. And then I have my page range, which is PP 9-20, and then a period. Right? So that's the first step to documentation. On my works cited page, I must have this entry that lists the entire documentation bibliographic record for that entry, right? Now, the second step is that when I'm using information from that article in my paper, I have to document it at the point of use as well. Because how will my reader know where I'm using information in my paper if I don't let them know? So we call that in-text citation. So here are two examples of how I can do that. I can quote or I can summarize, or in this first example, I've shown you how you actually can do both, right? So here is how I have actually melded both a quote and a summary into one sentence. Hatchman, so here I have identified him in a signal in. I've given an introductory phrase. Hatchman ultimately decides that the quote, OpenAI's AI chatbot is at least superior, unquote, to ChatGPT, Bing, and Bard right now. Technology moves so quickly that it is difficult to say which AI will reign supreme in a month. And then in parentheses at the end, number 20, right? So if I go here and I go to page 20, which is the last page, I believe, of the article, I'm going to see right here, right? It says, OpenAI's chatbot is at least superior, right? That's what the quote says. It says, it's anyone's guess what chatbots will be best contender in a month or two, right? So that's what the summary said, right? So that's where it came from. That's why it says page 20, right? The part that I took exactly word for word from Hatchman, I have in quotation marks, but the part that I just kind of took and I kind of rearranged it and put it into my own words, but still talking about what Hatchman said, I've just kind of succinct it, kind of mushed it into a smaller space, is my own place. That's just there, right? Now here, This is just pure summary. So I still have Hatchman. Hatchman believes that no AI has cornered the market indefinitely at this point, though some, like OpenAI, are marginally better than others. So now that's pure summary. I've taken everything that he said and I've just said it my own way. But notice that I still have to give him credit for it. All right, so that is that second step of in-text citation. And then my reader can go to my works cited page, which I have here at the end. And they can look under H for Hatchman, and they can see the entire information, so they can see exactly who Hatchman is, where the article is from, the date, and all of that, which can help with my credibility because they can say, oh, PC World is a really great magazine, or they can maybe be interested in finding out more information about it. All right, so that's how you basically do a periodical article in print, magazine, newspaper, right, journal, whatever. All right. So the second one is a book in print. So I have here's a page of a book you can see right here. And here is the information from the book. So here's the cover. It's Tales at Bedtime by Enid Blyton. This is a collection of short stories. So we're going to treat this like an anthology. So we can see we're going to be citing from Tom the Scout Cub, because that's Tom the Scout Cub, you can see right here, right? So I've got all of my information right here, when it was published, the publisher, the illustrator, right? I can see this page range, but I've got the page range for my works cited. So here's my works cited entry. So I've got the author, right? Last, comma, first, period. Now, since this is an anthology, I'm just citing from this one story. I'm going to put the name of the short story in quotation. So short stories are put in quotation marks. Novels are in italics, so short story in quotation marks, but notice it is properly capitalized. Then Tales at Bedtime, that's the name of the novel, that's going to be in italics. Then I'm going to put illustrated by, because that's on the cover, so that's going to be illustrated by, then a period. Now the publisher, which is William Collins, a comma, the year published, 1961, comma, and then because I'm only citing from this one short story, I'm going to put the page range that this short story appears in the book. Now, if I'm just citing the novel and I'm not citing anything, just the short story, if this were just one novel, right, and it wasn't a collection of short stories, then I wouldn't put a page range. But because this is an anthology of short stories by Ms. Blyton, then I am just citing from this short story, right? And so up here, I've got this quotation from him. So I've got this lead in to let you know who was saying and who he's saying it to. Tom begged Mr. Langham, quote, I want to be a cub. I can't bear to be turned out, ... So my ellipses means that I've taken out some stuff in between this quote and this quote, right? Think of some more jobs for me, sir. Hard ones, long ones. I'll show you. Blyton 77. So if we go here and look at this page, we can see, right, that it says, I like being a cub. It's fun. I'm sorry about those jobs, right? I like being a cub, right? Then it goes down here and it says, oh no, I'm sorry. It says, I want to be a cub. I can't bear to be turned out. And then it went down here. Think of some more jobs for me, sir. Long ones, hard ones, I'll show you. So I cut out all of this stuff in between that wasn't necessary. You didn't change anything, right? I just wanted to get, I want to be a cub, I'll do anything, right? So I can do that and use that ellipses to show my reader that I have taken out information. As long as what I've taken out doesn't change anything. And again, in dialogue, unless I want that back and forth, I can do that, right? So notice, because I didn't use Blyton here in my signal in, then I have to show you, well, who is the author of this? So you can go to the works cited entry and know where to look it up, right? And then page 77. So what if I just wanted to summarize that? I didn't want to use dialogue. Well, right here, Tom promised Mr. Langham that he would show how much he wanted to be a cub by working hard no matter how long, right? That pretty much says exactly what that quote says right there, only I'm just doing it in my own language. But notice, my parenthetical notation is identical to the quotation. Doesn't matter if it's a quote or summary, you still have to document it the same.